A pink racing motorbike. Kind of reminds me of the Bat Pod. You know, the one came out of that out of the fancy car. Maybe even the one from Akira. I like that red motor. I love that red bike. This one doesn't look like it'll handle a Dino Penguin. Hello everybody, Sparkstar1701 here. We're continuing our look into some Studio Series Transformers. And we're taking a look at a newer product recently released. This is Arcee as depicted in Bumblebee. Now, of course, as we all know, the Bumblebee feature did try to somewhat emulate the style and look of the Generation 1 era, but also modified and updated them a bit. So Arcee did get something of an updated look, but at least they also went with somewhat of a design and color scheme that would make her instantly identifiable to Generation 1 fans. So as we can see, she's got predominantly pink background body. As we all knew, that was her primary color when she appeared in the 1986 animated feature. And of course, these pieces behind the shoulder are somewhat reminiscent of the parts that were most noticeably on her back. And then, of course, the head sculpt does have the circular sides. Since, let's face it, Generation 1 Arcee was chiefly inspired by Princess Leia from Star Wars. In fact, quite a number of things out of the 1986 cartoon took inspiration from Star Wars. A good part of the story was inspired by the original Star Wars, and if you take a look at the original plans for the Death Star and added the horns and the ring around it, you could definitely see how Unicron came to be. So all in all, this is a decent looking figure. And of course, for a moment here, let's take a look at her background. As we can see, it's depicting the fall of Cybertron, which was being shown in the early moments of the movie. Kind of looks like right here we got Bumblebee rolling in. Or excuse me, B-127. It wasn't known as Bumblebee by then. At least looks like him. There's at least 3 other Transformers that are somewhat visible, but it's hard to really tell who they are due to the size of the picture here. I think there's like 3 more up here along this bridge, but again, it's really hard to tell. But all in all, it is a fitting one. I think pretty much all of the Autobots and a few of the Decepticons that have been sold under the Bumblebee logo have come with a similar background, so they could all be displayed together. So that kind of works. Alright, let's get that out of the way. And we'll take a look at Arcee here. And one thing you gotta be careful with Arcee, she doesn't balance pretty well. You do have to work with her to keep her from being a little bit too back heavy. So do remember that when you're trying to choose a battle pose to display her in. She does tend to be a little bit on the back heavy side. Gonna give her a twirl around so you can get a good look at things. And yes, obviously she's also, her vehicle mode goes along more with the modern idea. So she will transform into a motorcycle instead of the pink car that most of us G1 fans remember, but that's fine. That's fine. I've kind of gotten used to Arcee being a motorcycle now, and I can accept that. And if there's any fans out there that can't accept that, well, that's fine too. I'm not here to judge your preferences on the characters. At any rate, let's take a look at Arcee's lone accessories. And she basically comes with 2 handguns. Let's set it in here. Both of the guns look the same, so we only need to see one, but I'll put the second one there so you definitely know there's 2. But they do look the same, so there's no real difference between them. I guess it's modeled after the gun that she used in the movie. Any guns that she was seen with in the film, or was intended to be with in the film. It's been a while since I last watched Bumblebee, so I don't remember if she had a gun. But of course, let's face it, the scenes on Cybertron were relatively short and kind of fast-paced to get it moving. Paramount has long fussed about how expensive it would be to do a full movie on Cybertron. Little do they realize that's what us fans want. But instead, they keep giving us movies where we've got to deal with humans. And a fair amount of the humans they get can't act. You know, Shia couldn't act. There's debate about how much effort Mark Wahlberg was putting into it. John Cena's no actor. So I think if Hasbro wants these movies, if Paramount wants these movies to succeed, they need to find some better quality actors. At any rate here, let's take a look at Arcee's articulation. And she's pretty much got what's expected for a studio figure. Her head can be turned from side to side. It is on something of a ball joint, so it will look up and down a bit. Her arms can raise out about so far. And you can rotate them at the shoulder all the way around, but you will have to shift it outwards to clear the kibble on her back. She does have a tendency to pop apart relatively easily. You can bend her arm at the elbow 90 degrees. And she does have a swivel at the bicep. So she does have G.I. Joe style battle grip. You can twist Arcee at the hips. So she does can do some dance moves there for us. You can spread her legs apart into a full splits. Although they do tend to shift a bit. She does have a slight thigh cut. It isn't really a whole lot, so just be leery of that. You can raise her leg about 90 degrees, and you can bend her leg at the knee 90 degrees. So, all in all, relatively good range of motion. Okay, one other thing we should point out real quickly before we transform Arcee is that she does have storage in her robot mode for her guns. And that goes onto the base of her shoulder pieces. You can see there's a little tab protruding down here on this one. Alter the angle, that's better. And that post is big enough for the guns, so that you may attach the guns so that she has them in storage, in case you don't want to display her holding them. Put the other one on here as well. There we go. Kind of like that. And then there you go. You have another way to display her with her holding the guns on her shoulders. So that kind of works. It's always nice to have that as an option, I feel. That way you can vary it up, change it up however you want. Okay, it's time to transform Arcee. And the first thing we do, in a very long and complicated process, is we first start by folding her feet and the wheels out from underneath her. Then once we've done that, you're going to come down here, work the wheel and foot combination out a bit. And you just pull up just a little bit. And then you're going to swivel them so that the wheel comes to the front. There's a little, as you can see here, there's a little groove and a little plastic notch that'll come out. So once you got that lined up, you will push them in so it'll lock the wheels in place. Just exactly like that. Then basically, once they are locked into position, we'll rotate them back inward. So now she's basically standing on her wheels. Kind of looking like that one waitress droid in Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Now we're going to come back here to the back side. We're kind of going to shift parts of her leg outward a bit. And then you'll line up the wheels and try to get them to connect together. It's an odd combination as to how they connect. Don't be surprised if it doesn't hold very well. It's not exactly designed the best. Since it's basically 3 sets of 2 prongs on each tire. So it's not exactly a precise lineup. But you'll eventually get it. Next we're going to come up here and we will pull her head and backside back a bit. Once we've done that, we'll shift out her shoulder pieces. And then we will fold her head up like so. Get it to go as far back as you can get it. So then once we've done that, we're going to turn her around a bit and totally unfold her back outwards. Like that. So once her back is totally outward, you're going to expect us to bring it down and connect it. Onto her body. There we go. And once we've done that, we'll come here. You're going to fold open the windscreen so that we can fully get her head rotated inside. The headpiece should extend outward a bit, and then it can fold over. Just be prepared to kind of wiggle her head in. And also, we got to extend this piece outward a bit. So wiggle her head to go in like that, and then we can bring the windshield back down. And of course, we're keeping this all up. Come down here and rotate her body at the hips. So now her knees are facing upwards. Then we can finally bring the body all down, because these two pegs right here, these two pink pegs on the body, will line up with the holes here on her legs. I have to rotate her legs a little bit to get them in, but there we go. Now, of course, once that's in, you fold up the back of the body, you fold up the rest of her body to keep it upright. You're going to bend the arms at the elbow and fold her hands inwards. Then we're going to take these pieces at her shoulders. You'll turn them around, and they're going to fold down, and these holes that you see right there next to the silver paint are going to line up with the posts protruding from her arms. So line those up carefully so that it completes the look. And then there you have it. Arcee is now in her Cybertronian motorcycle look. And of course, if you wish to store her guns, you can attach the guns to her hands, which I kind of recommend since the hands do stand out a bit. By putting the guns in them, it at least gives the impression that that would be the exhaust pipes for the bike. And of course, how well she rolls in this mode is pretty dependent on how well the leg connection is, since this front wheel is not the best designed. But here we go. We'll give it a try. Actually rolls better than I gave it credit for. Who'd have guessed? Now we get to my thoughts. What do I think of this version of Arcee? Well, with her being of a deluxe class figure, I do like the fact that she is relatively simple to transform. It is a great representation of a modern take of the character. Granted, yes, she came out before they did the Studio 86 version of Arcee, which I find kind of odd that they had the two of them released almost on top of each other. Rarely does Hasbro put out two of the same character where they'd be released almost on top of each other like this. So I guess we all just got lucky in that. But if you're used to Arcee being depicted as a motorcycle, then this figure is definitely for you. However, if you prefer the classic car look, well, that's available too. Now, if you can only find a store that's carrying them. At any rate, that's my look at Studio Arcee as depicted in Bumblebee. I hope you all enjoyed it. And please do remember that if you like the content we feature here on this channel, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I'll catch you all later.